Just for the Garage Games. I'm here with CJ Stockel, level 5, USAW weightlifting coach. That was redundant. We're going to scratch that and go back. USAW weightlifting. All right, you ready? All right.
Card good? You got reformatted?
We know if we're recording?
Yes, we are recording.
All right. Excellent.
All right, cool. We are here at the Garage Games 1 2014 with Eric Richards, CJ Stockel, and Tony Blauer.
Blauer.
Not Blair. You are not the Prime Minister of
that
England,
place,
yeah,
that other place.
All right, cool.
With the Queen and such.
So yeah, we're here at the event. We're
in the cafeteria.
In the middle of the cafeteria because
it's kind of nice.
It's a little bit too loud in the middle of the WAD room.
Yeah.
So
this is the cultural cafeteria here too. So if you happen to catch the menu on the outside of the shot as Nick's moving around here, that's not we didn't bring that in. That wasn't us. We're renting the facility, so don't hold that against me. Though I don't know. I mean,
didn't we already talk about not eating paleo in the last podcast? Though?
We ripped apart paleo last podcast, didn't we? That's
Do either one of you guys eat paleo?
I had paleo for lunch.
Do you have paleo for lunch? Do you eat it regularly, or?
My wife has a theory about paleo. So she thinks that if cavemen had access to anything, they would have eaten it. So she goes, this cupcake is paleo.
That
this
is amazing.
Ice cream is paleo.
That's pretty wise.
It is. I mean, the first time, I mean, you don't argue with your wife, but the first time I said, honey, that's not paleo. She says, if a cupcake stand were beside a cavemen would have eaten cupcakes.
I think somebody also said if you can put it in a cave, then it's technically paleo.
I like that one.
So
that works as well too. That's good.
So whatever, right?
All right. Well, good. We're all clear then.
So cool. So we had everybody sign waivers in here already. So if their faces show up, whatever. So today we're going to talk about certifications, and I guess why it's important to do it, to go out there and the people that are wondering like what cert should I do? Should I do this cert? Should I do that cert? There's a whole lot of them out there right now.
There are.
CJ Stockel, you do the Olympic lifting cert, as well as a USAW Level 1 cert for USAW, but you also do the Oly lifting cert for HQ as well. Yeah. And then Tony, you do the CrossFit Defense certification, right? So I guess let's start out with you, Tony. Tell us a little bit about the program, how it came to be, and why you thought it was important and everything. Well, I feel so far away from you too. I feel like
come sit on my lap. The CrossFit Defense is about a year old, but I'd been involved with the community since 2006. In 2007, I started getting kind of some good exposure on main site. I was going in a lot of the certs and doing little things with people, and there was a lot of interest. And Coach Glassman and I have been talking about it literally since 2006, and our schedule finally got together, and we're about a year old right now.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different from what you were doing before, because I remember watching videos of you years ago. I wasn't supposed to be doing it at work.
Well, of course.
Working at what job? Was that the strip club?
No, that was not the strip club.
Just checking.
No, that was a different job.
Right. Well, the stuff, the drills and the content and the foundation is all the spear system research. So that was the stuff that you saw on main site in 2007 and the ATM video and all that. That's all part of the program. We call it CrossFit Defense because it falls under the umbrella of all the specialty courses. And the one we were doing as a beta test, Be Your Own Bodyguard, got a lot of traction, but CrossFit Be Your Own Bodyguard didn't fit on the website. It was just too long. And we wanted something, I was sitting and talking with Dave and Nicole, and we wanted something that was, generic for anything to do with combative self-defense fighting. So if it was learning how to shoot, learning how to use a knife, jiu-jitsu, it just fell under this defense umbrella. Some people don't get it or why it's important. I argue that it's more important than nutrition and any type of training that people do, because the day that you need a skill to survive, the only one that you can influence the outcome of is a self-defense situation. Every other, confrontation, whether it's a toothache or a stomach ache or something wrong with your car, you can call another subject matter expert. But God forbid something happens out there. And so when we talk about the CrossFit's charter of movements that are elemental and fundamental to your survival, that prepare you for the unknown and the unknowable, I can't think of anything more important than self-defense.
Well, it's one of those things. It's almost like it's not talked about a whole lot because it's one of those. It's like you don't need it until you need it, and when you need it, you need it.
That's an unknown urgency, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the moment you need it, it's the urgency is it's beyond urgent.
It's like the whole idea.
Nothing
behind,
you can do.
People getting guns, like they would rather have a gun and not need it than need a gun and not have it. It's the same thing. You need that. You just don't think about it till it's too late, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So.
And I make a joke in many talks where, if I said, hey, here, I noticed you didn't have a fire extinguisher at your box or your house, and I gave it to you, I mean, most people would go, oh, thanks a lot, man. That's a good idea. Yeah. No one would look at it and go, why are you giving me that? Are you saying I'm going to have a fire? Why would you say I'm going to have a fire? It wouldn't be that paranoia. I just want to share this and just ask you guys this. If someone came up with CrossFit first aid for boxes, right, and said, hey, God forbid a barbell falls on somebody. We've all had members pull off plates, new members pull off the plates all on one side at once and have the bar, take off at 1,000 miles an hour. The most dangerous stuff, with CrossFit is really driving to the box. But if someone came up with CrossFit first aid, every box owner and every athlete would, that'd be good. God forbid something happens. So I joke. I go, in terms of the chronology of the need of first aid and self-defense. The self-defense comes first. It's the first aid after. Yeah. So it's also, it's just understanding and reframing it. We don't teach it as a replacement for CrossFit or replacement for MMA or Jiu-Jitsu. It's really, it's a short block on elemental and fundamental to your survival movements.
Well, what I loved about it too, and because it fits so well with CrossFit, is that every single thing that we do in CrossFit, we keep preaching functional. That you hear that word, everybody's almost sick of it to this point. But every single thing that you do, you can say, what about wall balls? We're extending our arms out, right? Like
sure.
there's these movements that we do every single day. So why can't we teach a soccer mom how to defend herself if she already knows those movements and incorporate those things and the strengths that she has into it? So.
Exactly, and that was what I spent a year. My original course, Be Your Own Bodyguard, was pulling our big hits, the best stuff from our 5-day, 4-day courses, which people didn't have time for. And then I spent a year running it and beta testing it, and then I had these epiphanies when I was trying to cue and coach different CrossFit athletes, and I'd say, no, quarter extremity, your palm strike was, you got to turn your hip, you got to, and then it occurred to me, like watching people work out at lunch and doing a WOD, oh my God, when you're holding a wall ball, you're in a nonviolent posture. Like, hey man, someone grabs you, you're like, whoa, and if you think rep 150 and Karen into the bad guy's face, you grab me and I look at your face and I just see Dynamax across your forehead and I just go boom, double. I mean, and when I started seeing the connections between, there's 7 or 8 classic CrossFit movements that if you tweak them, they're incredible close quarter self-defense maneuvers. So people get the light bulb. And what we've done is we've eliminated the need to practice. Our big focus in the seminar is how to manage fear and how to improve your awareness, because the skill set's there.
That's probably the biggest thing, right? Because I know that most women, and I've been a part. I did MMA for a little bit, and most of the issue for females, especially, is that they don't have that killer instinct. But I don't think that's as present in women that do CrossFit, right? Like they've already broken that barrier. Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, would you agree? Like, there's not a lot of fear there, but I still think a lot of them, even though they feel empowered, you still need to give them that extra tool and show them what to do. And then all of a sudden, you've got women that you can't fuck with.
Yeah. Well, the 3-2-1 Go community is the most fun I've had in 30 years of teaching, and it's why I love.
Cool.
It's why I love doing it for CrossFitters, because we do a lot for law enforcement and military. That's our main business, and I've been in the martial art world, forever. And the most fun I have is with the CrossFitters, male and females, because every WAD is scary, and so they are closer to confronting fear and managing fear than most of the rest, most of the population.
Absolutely. They do it every day.
Yeah.
So I've got. Oh, go ahead.
No.
I was just say, I got a question about just kind of what you've seen in CrossFit now over these years, because I've been in CrossFit about the same amount of time that you've been involved. 2006, I started CrossFitting, and and I saw a lot of your stuff. Because it was always main site. But that was back in the day when I posted on main site, right? Like that's where that was my whiteboard was main site.
Right.
I didn't have anything else, and so I was kind of curious that because like there's an epiphany here, right, of the value of what you can offer and how close in proximity what they're doing in training is to the need, that physical skill set. But I wondered, it's like, do they even know? Like, I was shocked when I started telling people, yeah, we're going to have Tony Blauer come. And how many people in my box, didn't know who you were.
Right.
Like,
well,
what do you mean?
But there's a lot of people who don't know who Coach Glassman is.
You're right, exactly.
If he walked into an event, unless it's the games, and even there, people just don't know. I was at the last seminar that Coach Glassman taught in Santa Cruz, and I remember him pulling me aside and going, I'm going to leave early Sunday, and this is it. This is the plan, because he knew it couldn't grow with just him and Dave and Nicole and like teaching the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but there was a time, we were just talking about there was a time when 95 pounds was RX and 135 was heavy.
I love watching that 2007 announcement from Castro. We're doing heavy clean and jerks. And
we got heavy shouldered overheads.
Or
at
shoulder
115.
overheads. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, wait, what? Yeah, but it was.
CJ's daughter does that for reps.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably a lot of reps.
So well, speaking of which, since we're talking about functional, and I'm sure you probably pound the whole, I guess the functional movement in hip drive or things like that, hip extension. What do you see in that? Do you think that girls because CJ, obviously you train a buttload of really high level weightlifters, a lot of females, a lot of younger females as well. So do you think does weightlifting do the same thing? Do you feel that those girls are empowered from doing the weightlifting the same way?
Absolutely. I think competition alone gets their mind to where they will compete confrontation. Someone's confronting them, they're going to, get involved. I think what Tony's talking about is being able to take the movement that they're learning and transferring it into a functional force to be able to hit somebody or defend themselves or whatever it might be. And it does. You have that instinct within you. That's a drive, an innate thing that comes out of training. No matter what kind of training it is, if you're training right, you're going to have that aggression.
Yeah, and I think, if you teach a girl how to punch, it's one thing. But if you teach a girl that can snatch her body weight how to punch, you're going to be in trouble, right?
Well, there's a couple of movements. For example, we tell people, before, when somebody's new and they're learning how to do a press and a push press, and before you have, proper mechanics and the mobility you desire, most people, their push press, like with a PVC, is out in front of them. And so, we show if, you're a taller athlete, you come up to somebody, that shitty push press is an awesome palm strike. Yeah. Like the dip drive exploding from your hips and coming up, that core to extremity explosiveness. If you stuck your face in front of somebody's bar that was, practicing, that drive, and you looked over and went, what are you doing? Your head would turn into a Pez dispenser. The speed and power generated from Olympic lifting is insane. And so, the hook is, and I agree with what you said, I've looked at active shooter scenarios, and in schools where, some nut comes in with a gun, and several of the incidents that were stopped by the phys ed teacher who tackles the gunman, a wrestler or a football, people who have looked fear and looked confrontation and looked that performance, so they're not spectators in their life. They're that much closer to that 3-2-1 psychology. I got to go now. Yeah, so that's a huge bonus.
And you talk about transferring. You were talking about the hit. When we talk about teaching the jerk, I literally say, okay, hit my fist, hit my hand, and I'll get a. No, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Hit my hand. I'll go through 3. I mean, hit my hand, and then I said, that's the kind of aggression I've got to have in my head to drive that bar.
Yeah, when you talk about the level 1 cert too, talking about exerting force, there's 3 times the amount of force exerted in the second pull of a clean than there is in a deadlift, which if I think anybody can agree is a buttload of force. And when you get somebody that can use their hips in that way, then, I mean, absolutely, it's going to be dangerous. So then, kind of segueing into that, we've got a lot of girls and guys out there that are taking these level 1 certs, right? And it's great. It's awesome. Obviously, we've all been to those certs, or we're aware of those certs. They don't really focus a whole lot on the Olympic movements, and purposely. They say that it takes a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
So obviously the next step, I guess, would be to take the Olympic lifting cert. So would you say, since you do not only the USAW Level 1 and the Oly cert for CrossFit, what are the differences between those two for people that are saying, should I do USAW, should I do CrossFit,
I think they're very similar. I mean, they really are, except this. The Oly cert that Coach B does is hands-on for 2 straight days. The USA weightlifting one, you have a little bit of textbook, a little bit of things that you need to learn, and there is a written test. But what Mike does is his whole premise behind it is teach the coaches how to coach. And that's the biggest thing, because that's where we can reach the masses. And I've had people come up to me here this weekend, come up and say, hey, took a class, I've gone back, working with people. I can see instantly what you were talking about and how you were talking about addressing it. And that's the biggest thing, because that's where we can reach the masses, instead of just 1 or 2. And it's either one you take, you're going to learn it. And I think they both favor each other. I think, like I said earlier, I think there's an incredible amount of synergy between them. I was watching both the WODs out here. They had cleans, watching people who were very efficient. If you're efficient in your movement, you're saving energy that you're going to be able to put in, whether, a handstand walk, whether it's a pistol, whether it's a wall ball, or whatever else you're doing. You're going to have that opportunity. And I think that's really what it gets down to, the efficiency and learning good posture and good technique.
I think your phone's messing. We got some squeak in there.
But together, I think they're really strong.
So take both of them.
I would take both of them. I sure would.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I really do. I think there's value in both of them.
Absolutely.
I really
that
is.
Yeah, that makes sense. And to me, I guess, if somebody were to choose one, I guess my answer to everybody is always, well, what are your goals? Do you want to compete and try to make it to the American Open? Then you probably need to take the level 1 USAW, because you need to be certified. If you're just a CrossFit coach and you're trying not to break somebody's neck when you show them how to do the snatch and clean and jerk, then you probably need to take the one that's more oriented towards CrossFit.
I think that really is simple. That's the simplicity of it. That's exactly what you need to do. And now, in fact, I know USA Weightlifting is redoing the level 2. That would really help prepare them for coaching in meets and things like that. It was interesting, at the American Open this year, we had well over 400 lifters. And I would say that at least half of them were generated from CrossFit.
Wow. You just took,
so there's a big difference. I was at the Junior Nationals, and there were 2 girls that were exceptional, and they came in the CrossFit boxes. One of them was like 3rd, and right now she's scheduled to be on the junior world team.
Yeah, that's awesome. The question I was about to throw out, and you just answered it, was in the time. And CJ, how long have you been involved with USAW?
Wow. Since 1989.
Yeah,
long time.
I knew it's been a while. So in that time, can you even put some kind of a measure on what CrossFit's done to help grow that in the last 5 years or so?
It's to put a measurement on it's very difficult.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But I would say this: it has helped grow it tremendously, and it's not so much growing. The strength of USA weightlifting with the youth has come basically out of 3 programs for the masses. That would be Hassle Free, that would be Team Georgia, and that would be Florida. What CrossFit has done, and this is what we saw in the very beginning, was being able to get to parents who then bring their kids in.
Yeah.
And there adds value, because now the kid wants to do what mom and dad do, and mom and dad are going to the CrossFit box and learn how to do it. So, CrossFit kids, things like that. Teaching kids how to go with just a dowel rod or a broomstick, and building that relationship between mom and dad and the child. And that's really one of the things that's grown.
Yeah, and if we want USA weightlifting to grow, it's got to be the next generation, right? We're not going to send anybody that CrossFits now because CrossFitters are, 25, 30s or whatever. If they started training like myself, 5-6 years ago with the Olympic lifts, it's not going to happen. Like, we know that's not going to happen. It's not possible. But when my son grows up, right? When our daughters grow up and they've been training since they were 8 or 9 years old, like they do in all these other countries, now we have a chance. Now that pool of people are there.
Yeah.
Right? Where it just hasn't been. It wasn't because nobody cares.
You're exactly right. And we've had a very difficult time getting in the education system.
Yep.
And the ones who have been able to be in there, Coach B, when he first started this thing years ago with Team Southern California, that's what it was. And that's where we all grew from, the same idea. Here's the one thing, though, that CrossFit, I think, is really adding value to, and that's the GPP. Getting that built in the youth, because in education we are taking physical education out. I mean, by the time kids are in this state, you only got to take it for one semester your freshman year, and you don't have to take it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you look at our population, and why are we obese? Because kids don't have to do anything. They want to sit here and play with games.
Yeah.
Where
it's the
CrossFit
iPhones.
CrossFit gets them involved. And again, building it with mom and dad, there's a family thing there, and you can generate it.
We had 23 youth competitors today who were between the ages of 7 and 12, and we were doing we did PVC overhead squats. We just said, hey, PVC, and then we had them do squat cleans for the younger youth, and then we had squat clean and jerks for the 10 to 12-year-old range. And I tell you, I was watching. It was amazing for me to see. You could tell the kids that really were working that technique were getting into this, because the stability overhead was shocking to me. 15 pounds is enough to, kids don't usually have that stability. They waver, they tilt, they're sideways. There was a girl out there who was so stable in everything she did. She was probably 7, 8 years old. And I thought, man, she has got lots of potential. But the reality is, so does every other kid if they start at that age. Right? It's amazing how much you can pull out of them.
And pulling it back, obviously, you get doing the whole kids thing, people get flack about it, like, oh, well, kids shouldn't work out. You shouldn't load them if they're less than 12 years old. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but the 15 pounds is not loading a child, right?
Exactly.
and when you see all these kids in all these other countries that are 7 or 8 years old, that are snatching 20 kilos or whatever it is that they're snatching and clean and jerk and all these other things, like it's happening everywhere. Like we need to pull this crap from over our eyes and understand, like, it's not as simple as that. Like, we need these kids to get active. It doesn't matter how it happens, right? But they need to be under good supervision, and like you said, like, if we can drive those motor recruitment patterns in at a younger age, then they're going to be ready for anything as they get older. And speaking of ready for anything, I'm curious, because we were talking about kids a lot with weightlifting. How young of a group do you typically go to when you do your defense stuff, Tony?
Right now, our focus is on kind of what Mike Bergner's vision for organizing the classes is. How do we get adults to create that ripple effect within their communities? So making themselves, my charter and the group's charter is to try and make the community safer. So, we come at it very specifically in self-defense, but the movements are the movements, right? And that's the beautiful thing is, the grandmother uses PVC and the terrorist hunter, uses as heavy as he can go. Yep. But they're still doing, a squat or a push-up or climbing a rope. So everything, again, is scalable in our program. Jeff Martin and I have talked quite a bit about, when and how are we going to make a CrossFit Kids program? Because
Jeff Martin is the director for CrossFit Kids.
Yeah. So we've been talking about that for years. Just everyone is so busy.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, I do think there's a need there. Obviously, there would have to be a specific spin on it. But I mean, if it's okay to teach kids Taekwondo and karate, why not do something that's actually going to be a little bit more, get them ready for what's going to really happen in the real world? Why not?
Yeah, it's scary, and you got to, my swearing, I make Dennis Miller seem like a nun, what we're doing is the movements are the movements. So the language and the scenarios. I get asked by a lot of parents, can I bring my kids to this? And I tell them, like teenagers, mature teenagers are cool, but I say you come, and then it's your responsibility to kind of disseminate, tweak it how you think it's necessary.
Well, and that's kind of a slippery slope too, because a lot of I feel, and I could be completely off base, but a lot of when I hear you talk, what makes it important, what grabs your attention is your aggressiveness and the fact that you're not just talking out there like you've had a Quaalude and you're trying to be polite, like you're trying to get it through these people's heads that this shit's important, right? Like you could get killed, you could get mugged, you could lose all your money, you could get raped, and you need to be aware of this and you need to fight it. And you can't approach people and get that through their heads with the lackadaisy, lovey-dovey kind of attitude. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's, probably how, that's why it resonates so well with the CrossFit community, and the Olympic lifting, junkyard dog, explode, punch my hand. You can't, as smooth as Froning looks, it's a violent movement. Chad Vaughn, smooth, slow motion, classical music. I called him up after that main site video. I said,
that's a great video.
I said, listen, man, you're gonna hurt yourself if you keep lifting in slow motion. So he laughed. But I mean, it's violent, it's explosive. They're so confident in the efficiency of the movement, like you said. So that application of CrossFit is huge. But I tell people, just talking about this, I go, a real fight is like doing thrusters, and martial arts is like doing Olympic lifting. Yeah. And thrusters always suck. Yeah. And they, there's a moment while you're doing them, where you're going, these suck, just like a fight. Where the Olympic lifting, and I'm not talking about the training, I'm talking about the competitive element of it, is more like there's a lot of finesse, there's a lot of execution, and it's a lifelong pursuit. So I never put down the martial arts, but I go, listen, everyone can do a thruster right now, but not everyone can clean and jerk, not everyone can snatch.
Yeah,
it's true.
How are we doing on time?
With that, I'm bowing out. Actually, competition calls me. I got to go help get things kind of rolling for the next step.
A little selfish of you to go to the elite finals.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah, what the heck?
You guys will be there too. I'm just going to make sure it's ready to start when you're there. So
I think we're going to wrap up here in a little bit. So Eric, thank you very much for stopping
Thank you
by.
guys. I appreciate it.
So, so just kind of ending up. Obviously, go to the certs, right? Is there anything you guys want to kind of plug specifically? I know there's an event coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got an event coming up with Lee Haney.
Okay.
Nice.
Eight-time, Mr. World.
Yeah.
In fact, he's getting inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame up at the Arnold Classic. But it's April 19th. It's the Sports Challenge, Lee Haney's Sports Challenge, and you can go online. You can find it, in fact, at leehaney.com/challenge fitness challenge. And it's a big deal going on. There'll be different levels. Again, we've got things going on for kids, which, it'll be more of an agility, athletic movement deal. We've got things for teenagers. We've got items for class schools to come and compete together as teams. And we've always done this with him. In fact, years ago, talking about girls, I took 2 girls weightlifters down there, and they kicked some guys' butts. And the guys were like, we're talking about flipping tires and pushing cars. Right. But, they knew what they were doing, so they did it. And they were all upset. Well, why are these girls doing this? Well, they're kicking your butt, guys. Shut up and do it. But and then we got stuff for adults. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's the 19th of April. It'll be a great opportunity. We're also doing a Level 2, USA Weightlifting Level 2 up at Max Kane the 1st of April, if anybody's looking to learn that.
We got to get you guys over the box, too. And I know, Tony, I know you're going to go over to Travis Harkey's box tomorrow. Obviously, that'll be way past by the time this podcast comes up,
right,
or whatever. But how often are you doing these seminars now?
We've got like 60 in the pipeline. We've got sometimes every weekend we're somewhere. If they go to CrossFit Defense or CrossFit Main Site specialty classes, our whole calendar's up there. We're going to be back in this area at CrossFit Vitality down in Concord in April, and then Travis and I are looking for dates for the Atlanta area.
Yeah, we're going to have you guys up at one of ours, too. I definitely want to get in there. Like I said, I've talked to Travis, and he got me excited about it when I talked to him down at Regionals this last year. And like I said, I remember watching all the old videos, and there wasn't really an opportunity to do it back then 5-6 years ago, but there definitely is now, and there's also a need for it. So if somebody wants to sign up for these or see where they're at, what website do they need to go to?
They can go to CrossFitDefense.com. And if they can't remember CrossFit Defense, remember CrossFit. And
Yeah.
if you go to, if you just Google, CrossFit Defense, calendars will pop up, and we're listed on main site in the specialty events or on our CrossFit Defense page.
Okay, cool. And if somebody wants to go either the USAW cert, they need to go to
USAWeightlifting.org and then look up events.
And then for the Oly lifting cert for CrossFit,
I would think it would be on the main site.
it would be
Yeah,
on the
main site.
as well.
Specialty.
Yeah.
Okay, under specialty. All right, cool. Well, cool, guys. I think that's it. Thanks for coming out here and having lunch with us in the
Awesome.
cafeteria.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a weird place to podcast. So
It's
good
all
job.
right.
We'll see you guys. I guess we're gonna go watch the
Yeah.
was the elite women compete.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna see some hip extensions.
Nice.
So that's it. Cool.
Thanks.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
I got to tell you something was funny.